Ignacio Ruz. My artistic name is 886VG. I came from Santiago, Chile. I'm just doing a European tour, my second one.
Okay, so I was interested in, when we were talking before, you were telling me that you're in London, it's 2018, you've been here in 2012 and you went around Europe, played lots of gigs, that you've booked lots of gigs yourself.
Yes.
And you were talking about noise.
Yeah,
so
you were telling me
what is noise? And I was, tell me, help me.
You were asking me a little bit about like the roots of noise. This is just my version of the story, because
That's what I want to hear.
It's a really broad story, and I don't know, everyone has his take on it.
So the roots of noise, that's what I'm asking you about.
Yeah, the roots of noise, according to me, there's like three main schools of it, kinda. One is the electroacoustic school, which is academic. There's two of them are really academic. It's the electroacoustic and the concrete school. So the electroacoustic school is basically when these guys in the universities started building their computers. The first computers, we're talking about the 40s, 50s, and they were computers that could make music, like sounds. I don't know, music, sounds. So they were basically engineers fiddling with computers and mixing this kind of, I don't know, from the conservatories, mixed with engineers, just fiddling with computers and experimenting with the stuff. So that's where you have people like, I don't know, Xenakis, who was an architect and engineer. Stockhausen is a little bit on the side of that, but you have people, also John Cage and stuff like that.
So Xenakis, how do you spell that and where is this person?
Xenakis, he's Greek, if I remember correctly, and he's like X-N-E. I always have a confusion. It's like the
Okay, Xenakis with an X.
Xenakis and K. You will find it if you just Google him.
And was he in Greece? Was he in the US?
He traveled a lot of places because he first was a famous like engineer and an architect. So he started mixing architecture with electroacoustic compositions. So electroacoustic usually it's playing with the resources. So these guys used to do like, I don't know, 58 speaker installation and stuff like that, and weird noises and a lot of processing of stuff. And I don't know, for instance, this dude has one of his famous plays is like he did in Persephone, one of the capital of the Persian Empire, the old capital of the Persian Empire. They did this like festival music for some prince or whatever.
Gosh.
Yeah, so the dude went there and he installed like 50 speakers in the desert and this and that, and so that was the type of I don't know how to translate it to the English, but it's not plays, it's like works.
Yeah.
One of his just works that he did.
Performance
And stuff, but with speakers and stuff. So that's one school. The other school you have is the concrete music school, and these are the people that were working with like tape recorders. So when you first had tape recorders also, like in the 50s and stuff, there were people like recording sound, like ambient sounds and stuff, and then mangling with the sounds, like playing with the time stretching it, making collage of the things. That's like the other school you have. And this is all, again, like in the 40s.
So this is
50s.
electroacoustic versus concrete. So concrete is playing around with tapes and samples.
Yeah, and the other ones are playing with computers and speakers and arrays and stuff. And
I like how it's kind of almost a different access to resources, as you were saying, and it's a different kind of technology, and it's possibly even a different mentality.
Yes, and they were I don't know how different, but they just were appearing, in the world. So it was the first time these tools were available, because prior to that, it was really hard for someone to record something at home and play it. It was impossible, you didn't have tape recorders and stuff. So I think you had like the wax cylinder you could buy, but I don't know, it's like... So this is the first time this kind of technologies were kind of being more widespread, and first they come through the university,
You said there were three. So I heard electroacoustic, I heard concrete. What's the third?
Yeah, the third one's I think it's a little bit...
Is that electroconcrete?
No. The third one, I think, is the jazz world. It's the other input you have on like...
Are we talking about Sun Ra?
Yeah, this is one of the guys, because there's a lot of guys, but all the free jazz noise, this dude may know better about that, that world about me. And that came like in the 60s, I think, like where they were breaking the barrier from melody and stuff and going towards more free stuff. And then at the end, in a little bit more of a noise world, So that's like the roots. After that, it just grows a lot.
It sounds like the pre-punk experiment with no structure.
Yeah, of course. Then you have like in the 70s also, you have all these experimental bands that came from the psychedelic area, from the rock side, So you have like the crowd rock movement in Germany. I don't know if you know about that.
I know the name, but yeah.
Yeah, it's basically...
Is that Can?
Yeah, Can, and you have like Tangerine Dream, and there's a lot of bands that are really different, that they were basically the most known ones or classic ones are playing with rock music, but they add to that synthesizers and stuff.
Japanese? What's their story?
No. I'm just talking about the German ones right
Right.
here. It's also you have bands like Kraftwerk that were really making music just with synthesizers. But at the same time, you have some bands that were doing like soundscapes with synthesizers and were really going into the ambient side of that. You know, saying like, okay, we don't want drums, we don't want this, we don't want the guitars, just synthesizers and doing like ambient and stuff. So they also have like an approach to noise music and more experimentalism in some way. You know, not so hardcore as free jazz, for instance, or concrete music or electric music, but still they have an approach to the noise. To be more free, you know.
Kraftwerk are on the electroacoustic side, right?
It could be, but at the end they're already like.
But they got voices. So
Yeah,
but
concrete.
concrete.
But still, this is the point where synthesizers, because that's the other thing. When in the late '60s and early '70s, synthesizers were already like more available to the normal person. You didn't have to go to university, because that's the thing. Prior to that, you went to university and there was this fucking whole room with a fucking huge machine that costs, I don't know. So it was inaccessible to normal people to go to synthesizers.
Yeah.
So in the late '60s and in the early '70s, bands could start affording them. So I at that point I don't call it electroacoustic music, because it's not studied. Electroacoustic
Those
usually,
divisions are gone.
yeah, or not gone, because electric music still stands still today. But electric music, you teach it. They teach it at the university, and they have like this way of doing it where they really like.
That's disgusting. They teach electronic at university.
Yeah, I don't know if it's disgusting, man, but it's their way. So people usually make like papers about their works. So this work is based on this and that and that and that.
Have you done it? Did you learn
No, never.
electronic music at university?
No, I fucking hate it.
Have you ever met anyone who studied
Yeah, a lot.
electronic music?
A lot. I was mixed a little bit in that scene in Santiago, Chile, because in Santiago, Chile, it's so.
So
there's
what
a few
happened?
people doing stuff.
Did they like you and then you stopped liking them, or
No.
Or did you, like you said, I used to? So what's the story? Are you still immersed in that?
No. I like. I was friend of more of the radical people of that scene. So we used to live in the alternative gigs that where we kind of mixed, you know. Me and then alternative people in some like
What
random
happened to them?
scenes.
Did they all go and work for Hollywood or something?
No. No, it doesn't work like that. Actually, it's a little bit.
I'm talking about the radical people at the Chile Santiago School of Music.
Yeah.
What happened to those people?
They're like me, man. They just do some music here and there. You survive. It's the underground. You know, no one in this type of music is going to go really famous or big or gonna
They
get.
never took what they were able to do and helped deliver it to the masses.
The
And
masses
can
don't.
you tell me?
The masses don't really care. You know, that's the
But can
thing.
you tell me if there is?
There's-
Is this beautiful? Is this grotesque? Is there a beauty in the grotesque? And does wider society? Does it ever get exposed to that? Is it interested in that? And should anyone be the bridge? Jimi Hendrix is an example of music which is both beautiful and grotesque.
No.
It's a kind of indictment on a society, and there are other examples of that. And I think of punk of. So basically, one of the guys, I think one of the bassists to the Sex Pistols. This is a kind of story where basically he was fired because he listened to ABBA and the Beatles.
Yeah, of course.
And he lives around here, and I remember I bumped into him the other day, and he, and I said, "So is that true?" And he basically said, "That's a very, very insensitive way of speaking to someone that you don't know." And I thought, "Oh, fuck off!"
It's true. Then it's fucking true. Maybe.
So this is the whole thing of, is music allowed in noise and punk? Is melody allowed? And is the distortion and all these other things, are they allowed to go to the public? And yes, they are.
Yes,
so why have your friends or people that are in the radical side, why have they not done that? Is it because of a ideological thing where they say that's selling out?
No. It's just because just the sound of this type of music is really hardcore. It's really most people is not used. If you put an atmospheric record to normal people, like just an ambient record, they're not used to it. Even if it's chill and relax and whatever, they're not used to having something that's out of the rock format.
What about like when you watch a movie? Sometimes you can hear something going on
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
Especially more now. I'd say in the last 15 years.
No,
2006, I remember hearing glitchy stuff coming in.
It happened.
And it was just a bit more spooky.
The classic example of movies with noise is Eraserhead. I don't know if you saw it, but
I haven't. I've heard of it.
It's a really classic movie.
Eraserhead.
Yeah, it has a really interesting
Is
soundtrack.
that David Lynch? Or?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. It's one of his most classic acclaimed works or whatever.
So is he a friend of noise?
Yeah, of course.
Who else is a friend of noise in the movie world?
I don't know.
Because that's kind of part of what I was asking about, whether or not any of your friends have done adverts or Hollywood.
No, not really. Yeah, I actually I work with I do location sound for publicity down there.
Okay, so
that's
you
that's
do
my
work
work.
in advertising.
Yeah, I work in advertising.
Right.
And to be from Chile and be like exported to somewhere else is not gonna happen. At least the publicity world down there is
So what you're saying is
it's
Chile,
just a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy
yes,
of a copy.
so the Chile advertising work that you do is a feeder into global advertising or South American advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, is it because people are coming to Chile to make their adverts as well, aren't they? Right.
Yeah, some of them
because
because
of Chile, blah blah blah, right?
yeah, because it's cheap and stuff, basically.
Mountains as well.
Yeah,
right?
and they have a lot of landscapes and stuff. So we do have a lot of crews coming from the States and from.
And you're
yeah,
working with them.
sometimes.
So you're part of the feeder into the global advertising game, right?
Yeah, but not in the creative part. That's the thing. It's
Not in the creative.
yeah, it's
no.
it's different.
brief.
Yeah, it's really different to go with because I do a really technical stuff. I record with quality and this and that. But the creative guy, the director, they're always from outside.
And do you find that when you say they're always from outside, you mean they're from outside Chile?
Yeah.
But where are they actually from? Because they might be coming from the US or from EU, but that doesn't mean that they're from the place that they're coming from. Right?
They come from.
They may be from Chile as well.
And I mean, no, because there's two things we have to separate here. There's Chilean publicity, which is really, again, it's a local market and this and that.
Yeah.
And it's mainly done by Chilean people.
Sure.
But it's I don't know if it's worth talking because again it's just a copy of other industries. It's a small. It's a small thing, you know. It's not really big. So the other thing different is when you have like international services, and that's when international people come and film in Santiago.
Yeah.
So sometimes they come and they just use their whole crews when it's really really big thing. They go and they film a movie. They bring all their people. But usually what they do is they bring just the essentials, which is like the director, the art director, the director of photography, and that's it. You know.
And how many of those people have you ever met? Because you've probably been doing that for a few years. Have you met? Have you met people in that line of work that are interested in noise or that are interested in other things? You know.
No, to the moment I haven't worked so much in that thing because
Right.
I've worked in the whole field. I worked like the past 5 years, 7 years, something like that.
How many people have you come across that are interested in the type of music that you have been interested in?
With the local people, the Santiago people, yes, a bunch, you know. But
you knew them anyway.
yeah, but that's the thing. It
doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. And from the outside people, not so much because again, you don't mix. You just go to work. It's really
Sure.
and it's really like
You're professionals.
You're professionals, and at the same time, the publicity work and the audiovisual work is really it has like a kind of a military
Sure.
way of working. You don't speak with the director.
Logistics,
You speak with the assistant director,
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and usually
So it's silos, right? People, they don't want to know. Nobody wants to know anything apart from the thing that they have to know.
yeah, no,
Get that time
and
right.
at the same time, it's really time restricted because everything costs a lot of money, so you're just doing what you have to do. So I just
We're kind of going back to what you were saying about the 1,000 or the 100,000 pound keyboard in the university.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
academy.
yeah,
The
it could be.
equipment was so expensive that just because this derivative stuff is now derivative and it's cheap and so more people can play with it, but still the really high technology stuff, it's still, if you're not making money with it, you can't touch it.
yeah, so of
If you're
course.
not making big money for Coca-Cola with it, you can't touch it.
Yeah,
and if you do touch it, you can't talk.
Yes.
Don't play with the toys and talk.
Yeah, but we're always in the constant change that machines are getting cheaper and more accessible.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the thing. In the beginning, yes, even if you wanted to buy a cheap synthesizer, they didn't exist. The cheaper ones were I don't know, they were always really expensive, but they were coming prices down till the bands could afford them and stuff.
Does that mean that politically you are part of the technocratic approach? Because, technocracy is the way you are as a society controlled by the people who sell the technology.
Yeah.
They don't just give it to you because you can do something with it. They also have that other backdoor thing where they can control you. Surveillance capitalism, identity,
Yeah.
biometrics,
I think
all
to-
of this kind of stuff,
I think-
taste, culture.
Yeah, I think today we can escape a little bit of that, and that is one thing that we do with this music because it's really so independent, it's so unsellable. The market is really like non-existent. So that's also why I got in contact with this guy, because we all know each other. I'll tell it to you in a simpler manner. The people that's into this extreme type of music in Santiago, Chile, were like six persons.
Yeah.
Really because we have the people that do that a little bit more. Yeah, I think so. Okay. That do a little bit more like experimental music, more softer, and the people I was telling you about more electroacoustic. But that's a different school from mine. I'm if we go a little back, what I was telling you, this dude started like the noise whatever, but then. With machines getting cheaper and stuff, this is like the academic world, the studied guys, and then you have like the punk wave of noise electronic music, and that's where I fit in. When we say like we don't give a fuck about your studies, we don't give a fuck about the real composition and this and that, we just care about the sound and having fun or whatever. So So yeah, that's where I stick in, and this and in my type of people, in my scene, we are really few, and it's a like it's the like for maximalist, extreme, noise music.
Does maximalist mean using every single piece of? There's no silence, basically, or
and it's loud. Basically, it's loud.
So
because
maximalist is a reference to volume, is it, or is
Yeah,
it
yeah.
the amount of instruments that are?
No,
being played?
it's amount of intensity basically, because you have two sides of this. You have like the really minimalistic and the really extreme when you play, and in the middle. But it's easier to explain with both sides. So the maximalistic, you have noise basically. It's like storms and
the
distortion.
recording is loud.
Yeah, the recording is loud.
But can you listen to it soft?
Not really. That's a point.
Interesting,
That's
okay.
a point. That's harsh noise. That's the
So
style I
don't
do.
listen to it low volume because you're not really. It's not as the
No,
director intended.
no. You could listen to it at low volume, but still, when you see like the levels of the play device, it's going to be in red.
Yeah.
You can put a low volume, but it's maximalistic.
Yeah.
And then you have the other school of it, which it's really like low, and so you.
That's also noise.
Yeah, it's also noise.
You have low intensity,
Yeah.
minimalist low
Yeah.
intensity noise.
So there's a style called actually like lowercase where they they do really they do like this and amplify it and they play with noises and it's a school, and you can a scene or whatever you can like. It's not my scene, So you have like the electroacoustics tend more to the quieter noise and stuff like that. I that I'm like from the harsh noise scene. I like the chaos,
Have you ever made lowercase music just to take the piss out?
Yeah. No, not to take the piss out, because I also like a little bit like drum music, ambiental music, really chill music. I do it a little bit, but I know that my main side is the, and I have a project actually of drum music, like really.
Did you say drone?
Drone. Do you know the style?
Don't know drone, but I know the word drone when drones along.
Yeah, it's basically it's music that has really low changes and really minimalistic.
Yeah, because we say to drone along. So if someone's fucking just droning along, then it means they're just like, I'm gonna.
So this is really, but this is
it almost means boring, monotonous.
Yeah. This is more associated with like meditation music,
Right.
With like mantras and stuff. So you can make like drum music, electronic music, and I do that sometimes when I put like really thin things in synthesizer and they sound and they move slowly with time, so they create like this vibe in the place. I also like that. But my main thing and why I'm touring on this and whatever I'm doing in here is the harsh noise side of my stuff. And that scene, again, is really small. So you can say in Santiago we're like 4 people doing it. In Argentina, I think right now there's like 1. In Brazil, there may be 7. And in Europe, it's the same thing. When we come to London, there's like 3 people doing it here or whatever. So the scene is really, it's really little, but that gives it power in the sense that it's really united.
Do you play any instruments?
Yeah, I
Which
usually
ones?
Guitar originally. I play guitar since I was 13. I come from the punk metal scene. That's where I was raised, and then I discovered noise, and then I.
But now, do you basically actually not use your guitar as much because you're making so much
Not in
other stuff without it?
Yeah, not in this project. That's the thing. I like a lot of type of music. I'm really eclectic in that sense. I'm really into the hip hop music. I'm really into metal. I mean, certain type of metal because it's a wide genre. I'm really into the punk scene. I go to punk shows. I'm involved doing this hip hop. Program that we stream through the internet with some friends. I like a lot of type of music. I'm also really into folk and old music. I like 40s type of music and stuff. So and I play the acoustic guitar. I know how to do shit. I have the nails. I like that, and I make some songs of that, and that's something I have delayed. But I really want to make like acoustic guitar records at some point.
Do you ever play flamenco?
No, flamenco is a really difficult style of music. They even say that there's like 2 styles of music, like all music and then flamenco, because they really use like weird tempos, weird chords. So if you want to go into flamenco, you really have to dive into it.
That sounds like noise.
Yeah.
You just said it sounds like weird because you sound quite respectful of it. You sound very respectful.
No, of course, it's really hard. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, it is hard. It's not like, for instance, what I like a more folk music, like old American country music and more stuff like Leonard Cohen. I don't know, like just I don't know how to say it in English, but it's not bad. That's the name, but just more, and that's simple, But flamenco, they have this weird tempos, weird stuff. There's no real loss in flamenco also, so.
Our mutual friend, Kanju, he's very interested in trees.
In trees?
Yeah, food.
Yes, I know the planet.
Things like that. And when he told me that you're from Santiago, I thought, oh, okay. You're a person, you're from Santiago. Mm-hmm. If you're doing this, you're obviously interested in more than one thing.
Yes,
so
of course.
How does Santiago look these days? Because you had Bachelet, didn't you? And
Yes.
I don't know what happened. I think things went in and out and in and out. So do you currently have a right wing?
Yes.
Or pretend to be
Just,
left wing?
just let me do this small parenthesis to finish the prior idea, and I skip into this one.
Yeah.
Because there's one really important thing that I want to tell about the noise scene and whatever. We're few people, mangled all around, I mean, spread
global
all,
network. Yeah.
So this thing is really nice because at the end it's like an international art collective. You know, everyone knows themselves, everyone collaborates with themselves, and I really like that thing, you know. So that's why always when I'm in Santiago, I have people visiting me. Basically, when a noise people comes to Santiago, someone gives them my contact, and they arrive and they stay at my house, and that happens all around the world. So when I come traveling to Europe and I make this tour, I know I'm going to have people, you know, the countries that are going to receive me because we know each other. And as skipping a little bit to this forward question, you say, yeah, they're all different. You know, everyone has different interests, but there's usually there's a common thing in the noise people that they are interesting people. You know, they're not like, I don't know, they always are involved.
They're not going to be super closed.
Yeah, they're not being super close, and there's not a fixed stereotype.
Sure.
You know, because you have like I was telling you at some point, you have like 50-year-old guys that are painters, then you have like 20-year-old kids that are punks. You know, like I don't know, I don't know. They have a broad spread room of different
Sure.
people that like a lot of different stuff. So now, if you want, we can bounce back to the question about the reality in Santiago.
Well, just before, with you, so in your experience of all the people that come in and out of your life from the global network of people who know about noise, then do you find that because you're all creatives, so then afterwards you're all fairly entrepreneurial? You know what I mean? You know, people don't just give you things. I mean, they do sometimes, but generally you have to say, I'm using my imagination. I think
I'm
making something that I like, but I also think these people are interested and these people would like this. And you're always introducing people to each other, listening out for the environment, the scene, the atmosphere, right?
Yeah, of course.
So does that mean that when it comes to approaching projects, because you're so used to people not doing things for you, you know, you do it yourself and then other like-minded people help you.
That's really, I mean,
when it comes to the politics of, for example, somewhere like Santiago, or you radical Santiago musicians and that scene, where does the politics come into it? I mean, like when it comes to parties, you still have a loyalty to your country, and so what happens there? Because some people come from rich backgrounds, right? And because they had the access to the to the machines for years and stuff like that. All these different things at play. So what's going on? Do you have a divide? Do you have rifts, or is it much more complicated than that?
No. I think it's a little bit simple. You can never speak totally for like the whole thing.
Sure.
But
in your experience.
But in most cases, people that's involved in the noise scene is come from like a more left wing.
What does that mean to you?
I mean, I don't know if left wing is the right word, but
do you mean that they're nice to each other? Is that actually what you mean?
What I mean is
and I don't mean that in a critical way.
No. Of course. Usually, it's very collaborative people, you know, because at the end, if you're doing it alone and you don't have the feeling to collaborate and to do stuff with other people, it's going to be you really have to be like really strong independent because you're going to be alone your whole life, you know, doing it in your home in your house for yourself, and that's one way of doing it. I mean, I suppose there's people that do it like that.
Okay, so
but it's hard for a human being to be like
individualist. And then you've got collaborating.
Yeah, I think there's only two ways you can do it about this.
Yeah, so in this sense, it's interesting because you make all your music yourself.
Yeah.
You're going around a one-person guy, but you have your ears open to the scene.
Yeah, of course. I for instance, I started at this harsh noise concert cycles because no one was doing it, you know. So you try to tie the few guys that are doing it and to them to know each other.
But you must make music with other people.
Yeah, of course. Sometimes we collaborate. I mean, sometimes I do my noise, the other people does his noise at the same time, and it's a blast, you know. There's no real rules about it. One thing that I really like about this scene, my views of how it should be, because obviously there's people that think differently, but my views of how it should be, for me, it should be a really free scene, you know. I like that there should be no rules. So even when you start making your own rules, even aesthetically, you know, sometimes you put this record and you say, oh, this is a type of noise that I don't like. Then I put it again, you know, and sometimes it's so unpleasant that you end up liking it, you know.
But serious question, people who don't like rules, when they spend time together and they talk about things outside the
music,
music, but then afterwards, what's their attitude to rules like outside that? Do they, because some of them will say, rules are so important, because I think that people who are very good in an environment with no rules aren't necessarily always wanting to be in an environment with
no,
rules.
of course.
Sometimes they'll say, hey, I have principles, and they say this. Or, because once I interviewed someone who people call an anarchist, and he said to me, being an anarchist doesn't mean that you're against rules.
No,
you know, like absolutely not at all. You
it's self-regulation.
Right.
Self-regulation, and I think, and that means you have to have conscience and all that stuff.
So where are the limits then for, where do people draw the line in the, because now we're talking about extreme sort of
extreme music, extreme art,
and extreme views. So extremism, for example, do you have lots of crazy extremism in the Santiago, Chile music scene, and how does that go with? So, for example, in America, you have the alt-right.
Yes.
And you were saying just now, I really like metal, but then I heard you sort of say, but it's a bit white. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. If you said that.
No.
Do you mean the white as in noise, or white as in alt-right?
No, I didn't say white.
Did you not say that?
I say something similar. I think no, I didn't say anything related to.
Yeah, but do you have a kind of, in your type of world and music? Are some people known to just be like super racist?
No, I mean
the other way. You know what I mean?
In the global noise
extremism.
Yeah. In the global noise scene, there is a little crew or whatever that there always is a little part that they
Nazi noise basically. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there is.
Is there a Nazi noise scene?
Yeah, there is a Nazi noise scene, but it's really small. And the same.
Where is it globally?
Globally,
can you pinpoint?
Yeah,
the spots?
Finland.
Finland is the Nazi noise scene.
Yeah, Finland and Sweden. I think those kind of places they have a little.
Now, let's not talk about the Nazi part, but the actual noise. Is it any good? You're allowed to say, yeah, I like some of the technology, I like some of what they do, or just say, actually, I really don't listen to it. I think it's shit. Do you listen to it?
No, I don't really listen to it because because of ideological reasons, but at the same time, this type of people they have their stuff up. They think they're like sick people, so they like to talk about, I don't know, rape and nasty stuff. So they have like, from one side they do the shock thing, like shock stuff, and the other side they kind of believe they are some of the stuff, because I know that some of them are racist and stuff like that. So you don't know the relative. Are they really sick? Are they really just playing with the stuff to be perceived as a shock unit and so whatever? But at the same time, I just don't give a fuck, that noise, because I don't know. I'm in a phase of life when I'm really like positive, I've had.
You're an up.
Yeah,
up sound.
Yeah, man. I mean, I had a past where I was really a drunk, and I was a little bit into drunks and to self-destruction. I was never into racism or that kind of bullshit, but I was really nihilist and self-destructive. And I didn't give a fuck about this world. It's going to die.
So what happened? Was there an association with that in your music at a time? Because I would understand if there was. Yeah. Your music is you.
Yeah. But it was really like more.
Was it actually still not hateful though?
Yeah.
Angry but not hateful. I don't.
No, it was really hateful, but toward the system,
right.
To our authority, towards all.
So you could have gone either way.
Yeah, I could have gone either way, but again, these guys are really fucking retards now. So it's like, no, it was never a real option.
I'm not going there.
Yeah, I'm not going there. And they have their status club and stuff like that. So all that was kind of against what I was.
I take it they don't like the jazz.
No,
and
they
you
don't.
Kind of do.
I like a lot of stuff, man. I was telling you, I can really like folk music and stuff. So I'm more towards the freedom side of the shit, like intensity, whatever, but freedom. In Santiago, luckily we don't have, or at least that I know, we don't have like Nazi noise or stuff like that. So most of the people is really cool. At the same time, they're really normal people. They not all of them have to be radicals. That's the other thing. Some people just like how this shit sounds. It's really loud and this and that. And they're cool people. We can hang around and whatever. But then they do their kind of.
You're the most animated person from Chile I've met.
And really?
When I lived in Madrid, I met people from Chile. Some of the people I met were nice.
Yes.
Some of them, they were all nice. This is the other thing that was quite confusing for me about Chile. It's
a strange place.
All of the people that I met from Chile, they were all very nice, which was quite confusing for me. And I remember somebody from Argentina told me, the thing is, and obviously Argentina is its own story, but one of the things that they said to me was, the thing about when you meet people from Chile, Rajan, is that generally they will be very, very down to earth and speak in a very rational, normal kind of like, which you are too, but we're talking about your passions now. So, but
yes.
they would always just say, and so what he really meant was there could be, in the conversation, there could be various amounts of human rights violations included in what's being referred to, but you wouldn't know. You know, they would say, oh, we were talking about a project and there were some people there, so obviously we had to remove them, and then afterwards we did this. And you think, right, what does that mean? What does that mean? We had to remove them in a very normal way.
Well,
I think that would be part of a normal conversation. I think that's because maybe I was associating with people with a bit more business.
Yes and no. The thing is that
so much has happened.
Yeah,
you can't always talk about it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you know a little bit about the history of what happened in Chile.
I know about September 11th, 1973.
Yeah, okay. So if you know about that, you know that after that we really had imposed a really capitalistic neoliberal system.
Sure.
That's really strongly deregulated.
So economic experimentation took place in Chile.
Yeah.
That is what I have heard.
Yeah.
But
that happened in the 70s.
I've never really listened to anyone talk about how that has affected them growing up.
It has affected us a lot because it basically, the god of the Chilean people is money. That's the thing, right? That's the status right now. All people is like, money's good, we have to get money's better. No one gives a fuck too much about culture or the environment.
So you're talking about the cognitive space,
yeah,
the value systems, of day-to-day Chile.
Yeah,
is like that.
It's money. So I'm really different from those people. You can see whatever, but I'm different.
Sure, and at the same time you're working in the advertising world where it comes in globally.
Yeah,
just like Pinochet's guns. I mean,
yeah. And I say that I work with the enemy.
Kissinger's guns come in, and they have their effect.
Yes.
And of course, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that you have much of a choice here, but yeah. So
it's really hard. I mean. But I say it, and I don't want to keep on working with that because I say it like this. I'm working with the fucking enemy, So despite and I always have like this moral thing because I'm doing a really technical thing. I'm recording sound with machines and stuff like that. I'm not in generating the business. I'm not really selling the product, But still, I'm part of the machine of that thing that I really hate. But till now, at least, why I do it is because it just has been the only thing that I can do where I'm not so much of a slave, In Santiago, we still have like.
Okay, so you don't approve, but the other stuff is worse.
Yeah.
In a way.
Because
you have less freedom ultimately by doing other things, right? And you were saying that in the cognitive space, it's money, 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 money.
Yes.
So just tell me a little bit more about how the economic experimentation has affected Chilean life, or for example, you and your family.
Yeah, that's the thing. They imposed this system. They basically have, through a lot of ways, they have made the people be more ignorant. Like they teach them to not go. That's the thing. The whole system works against you. So they move, for instance, how do you say it? People from poor places. They move them to the real far side of the city. They made them. The public transportation is really shit. Access to education is really privatized. So if you want a good education, you have to pay for it. So obviously, poor people don't have ways to pay for good education, so they're fucked. Health is the same thing, Till these days, we have people that sometimes they die because they don't have health.
It sounds a little bit like a kind of apartheid.
Yeah, it's a little bit like that, but with this whole ghost thing, that is the money, So you can do all with money, and it's legal, it's okay.
So the money is everywhere, or more to the point, the absence of money is everywhere. And what money can do for you, right?
Yes, and the classes and stuff. So they sold this dream to people that if you work a lot, you're going to have the good things at life. You're going to have the payback with money, and you're going to have a better life. But the thing that happens is that, and the reality that happens is that Chile is one of the countries with the worst income distribution of the world. It's always in the top 5 or top 10 of that. So there's really few people making
top 5 for disparity.
Yeah. So there's some few people making a fucking lot of money. There's really rich people in Chile, and these guys are like collecting cars, and they have like these European cars, Italy cars that are limited. No Ferraris. They have these rare brands that are like they make 10 copies and one's in Chile. They have all that kind of stuff there. But it's really this really small percentage of people, and this really small percentage of upper class. But they have this huge middle class that are really slaves, So they really, but they buy this dream, like, oh, if we work more, we're gonna do better. But they're really slaves, They're really working for shit jobs with where you have a really, really, really bad provisional system for when you're gonna be old. When they're really healthy, if you need health, you have to pay for it. The governmental thing sucks. Education again is really privatized.
So what's going on with that sort of 70-80%? What's going on with?
They believe this thing. They just go to work and they're really happy because they have a new cell phone and a new car, and they get trapped toys, and they get trapped in that stuff. And it's really sad to see because they end up defending the system. in the sense that
Well, it's interesting because it reminds me of when you said as the prices went down, we had more toys to play with to make
yes,
noise.
yes.
And obviously, you're doing that and you're combining expression. Because, I mean, I view what you're doing. It's a funny one for me to think of what you're doing as being political, but it is. I think
it's a statement,
but,
because
yeah.
also what we do with this type of music is really anti-commercial. So for instance, I have
So in that sense,
it is political.
There is something very political about that, isn't it?
Yes, and I have friends, for instance, that they are into the copy left movement. I don't know if you know about that. It's basically like an alternative to copyright movements, where you can publish stuff, but you still you have the rights, you control it, but it's free. So if it's going to use for making money and some stuff, then you charge money and stuff like that. So we have friends in that scene. But I am more radical. I'm like I don't give a fuck about anything, you know. I'm never going to like register my stuff or put, I don't know, go to someone and say, yeah, this is my music, put my name. I just do it yourself kind of way, and out and it is and fuck the law. I'm really against the law. I really don't believe in the law. Like I don't respect it.
So, but what you're saying is you don't want the law to defend you.
Yeah.
Not defend you, but you don't.
I don't want to play by the law's game.
Yeah,
you know?
You don't want to use the law to make money. You just say I finished it.
Yeah, and I just follow the law when it's better. You know, like when it's better for me, I follow it. But when it's not better for me, I don't give a fuck. You know. So I can go to really minimal examples. For instance, I really like to I believe more in the common sense of me, at least, you know. So I also I'm a heavy bike rider as our friend here, and I don't give a fuck about the law, you know, when I ride my bike. I do it really carefully, so I don't bother the cars, and then we all can coexist in the same way. I believe in that, but I don't give a fuck about the law, man. I mean, in all senses, you know.
And where do you see things going in the future?
Of Chile?
No, general.
We're in these past years have been like life quality in the whole world is going down. Right. You can really see that. I mean, in Europe, in the first world, and also in the second and third world, life quality is going down. As you guys are having a lot of immigrants coming here, we also having them in Chile, which is one of like the best places in Latin America, which is also really great. But the other countries are getting worse, so they're coming there. So it's getting tougher everywhere, and life quality is getting tougher. And I think this capitalistic system is heading to, if it's not the end, it's at least a renewal of it, because as it's going, it's not sustainable. I think people is getting more aware. Technology is letting them get more in contact of stuff, and again, the life quality is just going down for at least the middle class of the whole world.
So in terms of the mechanisms at play that are there to put boundaries on, so basically all this technology is coming out, it's getting cheaper, people are getting access to it, and they can do things with it in terms of putting messages out and everything like that. Somebody has to put a limit on it in order to keep the system going.
Yeah, and it's happening all the time. You know, we have control of the technologies and stuff. You know, there have been cases. I don't know if you know what, in the Tibet occupation, the Chinese dudes, they
which occupation?
The Tibet. The Chinese occupation in the Tibet. You're
talking about a long time ago or today?
What, sorry?
You mean a long time ago? Or
no,
today?
just today. In the past years, the Chinese government and police and whatever, they use the cell phones to like spy on the people. So for instance,
we're talking back to surveillance capitalism.
Yeah, surveillance capitalism and control, that happens, and it happens a lot. But for instance, a really extreme example is that these dudes these monks, they were sharing a picture of another monk that they like, whatever. But these police guys had to put some code into the picture so they could see who was sharing it. So later, after they share it, police comes and they make them disappear. You know, they kill them, whatever.
Now, can I ask you a very specific question about
so that happens?
If you know somebody, let's say either in the police, in the hospital systems. Sorry.
One little thing. So my dream, or not dream, my hope is that this is happening, the control of the technology and stuff. But at the same time, technology is really hard to control. We always have these hackers and people using it against, especially when prices are going down. So my wish is that the thing suddenly goes out of control. Someone from hacker or whatever, you know, can break the system, can let things loose, you know, like how it happens with the WikiLeaks, you know, when the system is so wide and so complex, you're leaving windows open, you know. So at some point, one of these windows is going to be so open that you're going to see flaws and stuff, and I think through that ways, the stuff could collapse, you know. You could, or at least have a big something happening.
Yeah,
You could-
backdoors.
yeah,
that people can
backdoors. You can use it again.
exploit.
For instance, all that we talk about that's happening with digital currencies. That's basically currencies that are being managed without the central banks. That originally was Bitcoin, but it was really attacked because of the same reason. Because when the money is not being controlled by central banks, governments are not controlling the money. It's really scary for them. But you can do it.
It was at the beginning, wasn't it?
It was the beginning.
Or at least it was for about a year. And certainly at the beginning of this year,
Yeah.
they were saying, and about 4 years ago as well, massive inflation happened, right?
Yeah. But the thing is that at some point, some type of digital currency that is not handled by the banks is going to happen, and it's going to be handled by the people. That's the main idea behind digital currency. That's the main thing, that you can upload the database and it's shared between a lot of computers and it's open accessible, so it's a clear thing. There's no dark things happening, and it's basically a way of exchanging goods between people. So,
but there are limits on trust. I mean, I think
Yes.
I think that when they came up with the Bitcoin with the blockchain underneath it, I think what they said was this was a decentralized system in which people that don't trust each other can still have some trust.
yeah, that's it.
But the thing is,
That's
that
basically-
is the same as money in a way. But the difference is
You're
that
taking the power, but you're taking the notes of it. Who's writing? Yeah, Johnny owns this.
Sure.
You're taking that away from the banks and you're throwing it to the people.
yeah.
So it's a clear, it's a crystal clear
Which is
thing.
all very nice in principle, at the beginning, and at the same time, if you just think about it in a very sort of roundabout way, then there will always be limits on trust.
Yes, yes.
Won't there? I mean,
Yes,
when you
yes.
say, "Oh yeah, we can create something that's really owned by the people," so then the next question becomes: are we talking about a global currency in which some people or all people have been involved in creating it? Or is it just someone who might be from Japan or Australia who's come up with some identity, blah blah blah, and the other ghost that you said, the ghost of where's the money in Chile, this other sort of phantom idea.
But
of,
that's the thing.
who created it? Where did it come from? I don't know. It's just a thing.
But
What do we all share?
Yeah, but
because it was gold before, right? So gold was the thing that was regarded as being the stable kind of thing.
But that's the thing. When someone creates this kind of software, the thing is that it's open source. So the code, what's happening, it's clear. So it doesn't matter who started it, because at the end, it's in constant development.
Right.
So there's usually a community behind it, an open community, which is developing this stuff and changing it. But what's happening behind the scenes is clear. If you want to study it and go with it, it's there, and it's not like handled by someone. No one's really handling it,
But I'm talking about the governance. It's the governance that's the issue. Is just in the same way that Microsoft will say, okay, we have a new release, we have an update, and blah blah blah. It's the governance, and I think that's where when I first heard about
Yeah, it's going to be something is going to be controlling itself. But that's the thing; it's going to be more democratic, at least, because if you want to go into it and be part of the controlling part of it, or checking if it's working, you're going to be able to be part of
But
that.
do you remember at the beginning you were talking about acoustic music, electroacoustic, and you were talking about concrete, and there was a certain point where you were talking about loops.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I think it was with the
noise loops of.
Well, I think you were talking about the loops with respect to the concrete. Yeah. Did you say that the concrete
music
Did you
is-
say the electroacoustic was about
computers and
noisy
synthesizers.
computers, and
And
the other one was much
tape
more
loops.
loops.
Yeah, tape
so
loops
if you
and
take the loop view, right? So that's the concrete. The concrete scene of music, which comes from architecture or something like that, apparently. And you've got this whole loop thing coming in, so samples and loops and stuff like that. If you take that view on loops and you then look at a digital currency and the managers of a digital currency and talking about the way in which they incorporate change, because it's one thing to say, okay, we set up the system. It's another thing to say, in the future, it will change. There will be loops. There will be new things happening, incorporating information, new things happening. So at that point, I'm just wondering what it is about, and this isn't an argument,
No,
it's
it's
just
absolutely-
openly thinking, what is it about digital currencies that's so, that let's say even, not the perfect one, but something that's moving in this direction, so you're saying it's transparent in the way it works and everything like that.
It's taking power from the government and bringing it back to the people.
Is it? Because the thing is that when you are talking about taking it away and bringing it back to the people, but the people that are taking it away and bringing it back to the people are acting on behalf of which people?
But that's the thing.
You say the people,
But that's the
and they
thing.
could try and be as open as possible. But I just mean that maybe the currency and the workings of the currency can be as open as possible. But when it comes to something about the rule setting,
Yes.
somewhere there, so now we're talking about central banking basically. When it comes to the rule setting, one of the issues with Bitcoin is that it is so very conservative. So when let's say there is a disaster, a central bank could say, right, let's print lots of money. Yeah, or let's do this, or something like that. I mean, or let's get rid of the money, or let's put more in. Now, when it comes to that sort of thing, you can have all sorts of opinions coming in.
Yes, of course.
How do those different opinions
and you have
incorporated into the governance of a new system that's taking it away from that? Actually, you're going to realise that you're taking it away from that, but then what do you do when you have a difference of opinion?
You have to have a political stand and everything. It's
the political nature of central banks.
Yeah.
They will then afterwards come in with this new thing. So I'm really, really happy that we can think about this alternative, but at the same time, there'll be a limit within the alternative, and that's the interesting question. But in the same way that you're using technology to talk
of course.
technology.
But that's the thing. Everything has its process and cycles. So we can skip ahead and say, yeah, this is going to work. What's the ideal thing? I don't know what's the ideal.
But it's very important to think about this.
Yes, of course.
Convergence is an issue, right? So it's either going to diverge or it's going to converge. If it converges into an inevitable sort of conflict that's going to happen, then the thing is
restructuration. That what do we do with the restructuration that comes after that? Yeah, I know, but this is the thing. Right now we have this system that has been running for I don't know how many years, 300, 400, I don't know. The Western system of organized world of and capitalism starts a little bit later, whatever. But this is what we have: capitalism, neoliberalism. And it's really strong, and I think
you could just call it colonialism, really, couldn't you?
Yeah,
if you wanted to, but yeah.
But
I get you. Yeah.
But we have this. And so you were asking me, where do you see the future? I see this system
with corporations.
Yeah, with corporations having to being reformulated, restructured, really heavily restructured, or really starting from another kind of setting up. Which is the answer? To be totally honest, I don't know, because I don't know. I'm kind of the kind of people.
Yeah, you don't have to have the answer. We're just talking.
I don't know, but what I do know, or what I do hope, is that one sort of technologies that could be digital currency, but could be something else, some kind of break in the system, some kind of open window, is going to be like the access for this main collapse that has to happen at some point when when people start to get more discomfort and stuff, because as I was telling you, life quality is going down, and it's probably going to continue going down as resources are more difficult to get, as they really want to make more money, this 1% or whatever you want to call them. So I think life is going to be getting harder and harder. So what I envision for the future is that the situation is going to get a little worse slowly, and suddenly when the system has to be reformulated or it's really near to collapse, something like that, through technology is going to be able to do this, to help it.
So when you're talking about flaws,
for instance, I can give you another example. There was this Brazilian incident where there was this big protest. I don't remember what the protest were. I think it was against the World Cup.
You mean a trial? Yeah.
No, just street protests.
Legal.
No, in the streets.
Protests.
Protests.
Sorry. Protests.
Yeah, sorry, my English.
Protest. Yeah. Sorry.
So there was this big protests because of, I think, of the World Cup and whatever. And this dude was accused of throwing Molotov cocktails,
Right.
And when you throw Molotov cocktails, it's like another degree of the incident, and you give the police the excuse to attack. So they had this really strong police repression on this incident, and it was because this guy because it had been like kind of peaceful to that moment. So the guy was arrested, he was beaten up or whatever. And the guy was claiming, but I never had Molotov cocktails, whatever, and that. So what they did, they did this open campaign and said that whoever has videos of the guy in the protest to prove he's not guilty, show it, And they did it. And suddenly anonymous people started sending videos, just random videos where you could see that the guy didn't have a backpack, that he wasn't involved in the shit.
Really? He was innocent?
Yeah, he was totally innocent, So they could, at the end, they could collaborate. And also they were showing footage that there were some police dudes, so they could prove that it was a montage.
Agents provocateurs.
Yeah, provocateurs. So they were, and that's classic on social media. They put provocateurs in the police. I mean, as public, and they start. So they have that excuse for the police to intervene and beat all the fucking people.
Do you have a story in Chile going on?
So that's a good example where technology can be used against the guys that also without the control and stuff. You can use these tools, but that's the end of what they are. They're tools.
Yeah.
So that's what I hope, that people find a loophole, find this thing, and can use technology for their advantage and for the change. Because that's what at the end what I think the system has to be changed. Because
I like the way that you've gone about asking my question, because quite early on I tried to ask you that sort of difficult question. I didn't try, it just came out,
I get it.
which was you are a technocratic cheerleader, and we had a nice little journey, and basically I think the answer was no, I'm not, and then I think what you've said is, I see hope in harnessing technology for good.
Yes.
You know, instead of just being fucked by technology, I'm saying, no, let's get fucked by technology. You know, that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
And then let's also enjoy what we can.
Take it back.
Because, what do we do if we don't?
Yeah. That's it, basically. Also, I truly believe in and this is maybe more of my nihilistic side. I truly believe that processes take their time, you know. It's like when you had the Egyptian revolution, they had been 40 years in a dictatorship and push and this and that. So when it happened, it was really because people was really fed up, you know, where they really like to the level. I really remember there was an interview to a guy in the streets and he was like, yeah, I'm an engineer, I should be at work right now, but for me it's more important to be in the street defending these cows because that's it. It's more important, you know. So he was really pushed. So when I see the situation in Chile, for instance, people steer years away, light years away, to saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna go out of my job because I want to protest." They still are defending the jobs because.
But that's the same mentality that allows you to have the noise culture, though, because you know how you said. Well, I say that it's not fair because in Egypt there's lots of people who say I won't go out on the streets either. I'm sure.
Yeah, of course,
They're gonna be fucking killed. A lot of them, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
and repression. I don't know. It was really hardcore.
And you've only had it recently, anyway. I mean, probably before you were born. But in terms of the legacy, we have a problem at the moment where we've had a famous fashion company or something like that. It's fashion or perfume or something like that. They're called Lush, and they make ethical cosmetics, I think.
Okay.
And they give money to left-wing groups and eco groups and animal rights groups. And they did a recent campaign because there's lots of police since the 1960s who were undercover cops.
Okay.
And they infiltrated campaigning groups. And many of them had pretended with false identities to not be police and then started relationships with some of the female activists who hadn't broken the law, and some even had children with them.
Oh.
You know, whilst also having another family and then just suddenly disappearing. So it's been going on for a long time. The most recent case that was mentioned was 2013, but at the same time, apparently in court the other day, something was said that implies that it's still happening. So this fashion cosmetics company did an advert campaign yesterday where in all of their shops they've got posters and videos and signs saying that the police have crossed the line. and things like that.
It's interesting.
I'm just wondering, and so then afterwards, then you can see the way in which the media and the public relations fight this battle in social media. Then they're saying, "Oh, you hate the police," and they're saying, "You know, you need the police when it comes to shoplifting. You know, when people steal from your shop." To which I haven't seen anyone say this, but they say, we don't ask you to come and sleep with our staff and rape our customers. You know, that's what the complaint is about, not the police.
Yeah, of course.
Now, in Chile, do you have much of this going on? Undercover cops?
In not so much.
Not today.
Yes, in the protests. In the protests, when you have like stuff in the street, then you have like undercover cops. There's where you sometimes there are videos where they tell monies and stuff like that.
There's so many million people in Chile that it's just you wouldn't know. Or would people actually say, "I fucking know you. I went to school with you. There's no way you're with me. I know you're a fucking cop."
They kind of tell them because of the haircuts and stuff, and they're usually it's the kids where they're agitating the provocateurs, and then they see them like going into the police truck and they take some pictures of the guys and then hey this stuff. So it happens sometimes. Or sometimes they have, I don't know why they know, but sometimes they know and they catch and they're like videos and they're like, yeah, show your ID, and they have their ID like down there and whatever.
Sorry, they have it?
Their ID,
right.
like the police shit. So they're in the process.
This is accidentally people see their ID, you mean?
No. They find out that they're a couple, they're suspects, and so they everyone goes into them and to the cop attacking them and like show you your stuff, show you over there, and they're and then they protect him. And suddenly a ton of cops come and they take him away, they protect him,
and he's safe.
And it's safe. And you never know. So that happens, and it also happens there where you have like montage cases. That I think that's the most
montage. You mean with videos?
No, montage with they set up people.
Sorry?
They set up people.
Right.
So for instance, there was this famous case where some anarchist people put some bombs in banks and stuff, and later they were just grabbing other people from.
This is a long time ago. Is this
no. This is 8 years ago, maybe something like that. 5, I don't know.
I didn't know about the case of anarchists putting bombs in banks in Chile recently. Right.
That's the other thing, man.
We don't hear about that.
When I was telling you that this capitalistic machine and whatever is so well put down under they got this money, it also happens in all terms. Like people's really captured by the news, but the news are really stupid. Like the TV news.
Yeah.
They talk about.
You just told me the real fucking news. I never knew that. I never knew that there was a campaign in Chile where anarchists were putting bombs in banks.
That's the thing where I'm going to. The guys control the media really good, and people just buy that shit because it's really like they put.
But does anybody report on that? Can I go onto some
yes,
Twitter
no, yes,
and find out people just saying that happened?
Yes, on internet you can find stuff.
Even photos.
Yes. I
Okay,
mean,
so I'm going to give you my email address. I'm on Twitter as well, but I'm definitely interested in finding out more about...
Yes, I can connect
So
you.
I used to live in Madrid, entonces todavía hablo un poquito de castellano. So
Perfect.
I would still be able to read.
No, there's a lot of stuff. Also, you can see, another really important thing that we should talk about Chile is the Mapuche conflict we have in the south. I don't know if you know about that, but basically...
if you say south and you're talking about Chile... You're talking about the Antarctic, right?
No, we're talking about, how to say
You're
it?
talking about a very cold place, right?
Semi-cold. Something like...
This is the edge of the planet.
Something like northern Germany, something like a little bit...
Okay, so what is the Mapuche conflict?
Yeah, the Mapuche conflict is basically when you had the Spanish invasion, colonialism, and everything, when they arrived to America...
Versus the indigenous.
Most of the indigenous people in America, they...
Ran away.
They
got killed?
No, they got killed or they just submitted to them because some of them thought they were gods. They saw them on top of horses. We didn't have horses, so they thought they were gods and the
You're
metal
going to be
stuff.
nice to me because you're
Yeah,
nice.
and at the same time, so a lot of them just surrendered to the Spanish guys. A lot of cultures in the Mexicans and here and that. A lot of them surrendered. Some of them fight a little bit, and so there were some massacres and stuff. But there wasn't a real opposition till the Mapuches, and the Mapuches live in Chile and Argentina in the south. And
I've never heard about this.
Really,
before.
this is really one of the things.
But when you come to Europe, have you ever had a conversation about the Mapuche?
Yeah. Well, some people like this guy, for instance, I talked to this, and he knew some of it. But yeah, it's a really interesting and important thing because they resisted the Spanish guys, and they were constantly in war with them. Also because the south of Chile is like a jungle, so they knew the jungle stuff.
Have you ever read Asterix?
Yes. I know who is, and I don't know if I ever read it.
Asterix is supposed to be the cartoon character in Brittany or Gaul that fought the Romans. That said, no. In Spain, they say Asturias is the place that was never conquered by the Arabs.
Perfect.
So they have these little places, and so then all the myth will come of how we're the greatest, and we never surrendered. Like Ethiopia, for example. The Italians never took Ethiopia.
Perfect. This is the same thing basically. So these guys stood against the Spanish. Then it was even so crazy that when Chile was independentized in 18 I don't even know that it's 1810 I think.
My God, that's 1810. Okay. It's pretty late, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty late. But when it was independentized, so basically when it wasn't depending on the crown, on the Spanish crown, and now Chile.
Still earlier than everybody else. It's late, but most other people had to wait a long time.
Still early, but still it was all planned because of the money. That also was Masonic planning and stuff. That's another story.
Yeah.
But when it happened, the Mapuche people were in favor of the king, of the Spanish king, because they have fought with the Spanish guys so much time that at that point
against they fought them
against so much time that at that point they already had like economic treaties. They were exchanging stuff. They had like a little kind of peace with the Spanish.
I see. Okay, so basically they had a pre-existing truce.
Yeah, kind of. Not even truce, but
how do you say truce in Spanish? I forgot.
Tregua.
Exactly. So they had a kind of tregua.
Yeah, they have treats. They could.
You know what I mean? Where they basically said, listen. Fuck you.
Yeah, so
fuck you and fuck you, but
there's a limit like here, and they exchange some kind of foods, whatever. It was a little bit more better. So when
kind of like trade.
Yeah, they had
exchange.
They had something like that. So
you got something I want, I'll take it, and in
they
return,
had
kind of get something from me as well.
Yeah, they had fought so much because of this, so it was kind of better. So when Chile was independent, they said fuck all what we had settled. Let's go against and conquer the south.
Right.
Again, so they were in favor of the king actually, like saying they were
compared.
Yeah,
it's a bit like me if I say, hey, the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank, even though they're fucked up, maybe they're better than what's going to happen when you get the Bitcoin central bank. That's what I was basically saying.
Yeah.
You were saying, I see something happening. I was like, yeah, maybe, but
who knows?
It's still who the fuck's making the decisions.
Yeah, who knows?
I still don't know. But okay, so back to the
thing
is it the Michwa?
Mapuches. So the Mapuches basically have been in war 500 years with Europeans, and they still are in war. So they have the Mapuche nation, which is in Chile, which is illegal, and the Chile government is constantly in war with them.
Right.
And they consider them they put with them the terrorist law, and they are prosecuted like by the military.
Is there any
shit.
oil there? Any diamonds? Any
No, not really.
minerals?
Not really. What you do have is
Fracking?
trees.
Trees.
There's really like a big forestal.
Have you discussed the tree situation with Kanju? Of
Uh,
the Mapuches?
not-
Because if you've already spoken...
I speak well with the butcher, not really over the trees, but yeah, because that's the thing. They have these big logging companies that are actually, the funny part is that
Are
they're
they
not.
Canadian, or?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're not even Chilean.
Are
I
they
don't know.
Canadian?
I don't know if Canadian, man, but they're from maybe from the States, Canadian, from
Yeah.
all the fucking world, because it's a really big place, and so that's the main interest. That's the thing. Chile is so capitalistic that they defend the rights of the companies that are not even Chilean against these guys that have been there
Sounds
for.
very familiar. Just remember, you're in London now.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway,
Yeah.
it's weird, but like, we live it too.
Weird.
That.
So that at the end, that's the Mapuche situation. So from time to time they're burning forestal trucks and stuff like that.
Is there a lot of film footage on the internet of this?
Yes,
Yeah.
constantly. So that's a cool thing.
So a lot of people from Chile go down there and say, "Fuck you, we're defending the Mapuches." Yes or no?
Not really, because the Mapuches don't consider themselves like Chileans.
No, but that doesn't matter because I'm talking about Chileans coming and saying,
Yeah.
"Listen, I know you don't like me, but I don't like what we're doing to you,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm going to try and be useful. At least film something.
Yeah.
to share it."
Yeah.
There must be.
No,
that's the
there-
kind of thing I would imagine someone like
Yeah,
you would do.
yeah. No, there is.
Because you're already showing solidarity by telling them.
Yeah, it is strange for me. I'm really proud about them, but I'm not proud of them. But at the same time, for me, it's a really fucking good cause, and they really, I really like also that they're really anti against the system and fighting. They're strong, man. They're strong people. Yeah, there is a lot of footage and stuff and documentaries, and you always have cases where the police come into their places and they shoot a kid, and then it's not told. But we were talking about news, and it is the important thing that nowadays with technology you have access to more reliable sources of good news. Like this, you can find about this if you want, if you search it even through Facebook, man. That's a cool thing, because I have Facebook is like a double-edged weapon. So I'm on it, but I have a lot of really good contacts, so I get all this kind of stuff, and and from time to time you're like, fuck yeah, this is really nice, like really good information. But most of the people in Chile also, they buy the shit news, the TV news, and they are really like zombies. And the classical thing that happens everywhere. They're the zombies, and they believe this game that if they work more, they're going to be better. But at the same time, they're working like 10 hours a day in a shitty transportation public system, and they don't have anything, and blah, 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 blah. The whole thing. So that's the main reality of Chile at the end. Like if you go and speak with 80 or 90% or 95, I think, percent of the Chileans, they're going to talk to you about
Sucked into the game.
Yeah, and they're going to talk to you about the football game. They're going to be talking to you about, Chile's really crazy. We have so many malls, like big ass malls, like big stores. I was telling this guy, the supermarkets here are so small. A normal
Is the internet not killing them now?
Not really, man. I mean, yeah, they still sell out through internet, but it's all buying, new, the new car, the new thing. That's what they do, man, down there. Do you go to the poor places and they have this really huge?
Do you ever go into those shops? You do. You have to.
Yeah, I have to.
So when you do,
but rarely, because
how
for
much of
instance,
that stuff is from Chile and how much is from abroad?
most of these is from abroad. Yeah,
Really?
Chile doesn't produce much stuff. We have fruits, we have wine, and then the other thing that Chile makes its money is copper. It's the mining thing.
Yeah.
It's a really heavy mining economics country dependent. When the copper goes down in the international markets, there's the Chilean how to say, trades go down and up, and it's really dependent.
So you've got the stock market and the currency.
Yeah.
So la bolsa.
Yeah.
La moneda, right?
Yeah.
La divisa. So
It's really dependent on so the dollar and other things. It really changes depending on the copper market. It's really
so
like
your
that.
currency-
And the fish. That's the other thing we do have a lot. Like in the south, they
copper,
really
fish, and some trees.
yeah. So we really usually don't produce anything.
So copper, fish, trees.
Yeah, and lithium now is another thing, because it's all the mining thing, but copper is the main thing.
Okay.
They really have the
And
country
who does
like
the mining? Do they send children down the mine, or is it?
no. It's really
Adults?
no. The miners are really developed. They're really like big things, like industrial mining. It's
But
really,
if you're a miner, then is that a really good job or is that a shit job?
it's a good job, but you have to go to the north usually, and the north of Chile you don't have anything. It's like it's a big desert.
So they create a village.
Yeah,
Mining village.
yeah. There's a really mining village where you have really high rates of prostitution, where you have really high rates of drug consumption, because they're just miners that have a lot of money, but they have to live there and they have nothing to do. So you won't find culture there also. you know. So yeah, that's the other thing that you do have there. But at the end, the main profit from that is going outboards, you know, because the mines are not Chileans. So they're going.
I like how the mines are not Chilean.
Yeah,
so they've sold the mines, the ownership of the mines,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
at least the ownership of what comes out of the mine.
Yeah, I mean there are some mining. Obviously, there are ones that are from Chile, like the big copper company from Chile. But there are a lot of mines that are not Chilean.
Is the big copper company state owned? Obviously not, because it's Chile.
I-
Chile, like, did the government surely don't own that, do they? They would have got rid of that.
I don't know how it works. I'm not really sure, man, because they
What's
create
the name of the big Chile copper company?
Codelco. Yeah,
Codelco.
I think it's government. I don't know. No, I
Because
wouldn't.
ideologically, I find it really difficult to believe. I'm wrong all the time, so maybe it does belong to the government.
But no,
I find it really difficult to believe
but
that
that's
the
the
copper
thing.
goes, the money goes to the people.
But that's the thing. Even if it's handled by the government, they're still gonna have some weird ass shit where they take the money somewhere else, and most of the profit is not going to.
A nice bit of financial engineering.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's the deregulation of the system of what's maintaining Chile and what's. So Chile, in the macro numbers, economic numbers, is really good. You know, that's why they all say.
It's the poster child.
Yeah, but then in the real numbers, as I say, the income distribution is fucking awful.
Yeah.
And the life quality is really shit. Santiago's a really polluted city also.
Ignacio, we're going to have to wind up. So it was really good talking to you.
No, of course. No,
I wish you all the best. So what's the name of your band again? Just say.
886 VG.
Okay, and can you tell me the names of any other bands that you like, that your friends, that are around globally? Could start off with, whatever else, Because I know nothing about noise.
Well, I would really like to shout out to Armenia. Armenia is a band from Ecuador. He's a really nice friend of mine. He's been part of the underground scene since... Well, he's the first Latin American guy doing harsh noise, like from '89. Armenia. So
how do you find that? Because Armenia is the name of a fucking country, so I don't know how...
Armenia harsh noise. Harsh noise is the name of the style, so if you put Armenia harsh noise on the internet, you're going to find...
Anyone else?
Yeah. Kikanju, Bako, he's my host here. He's fucking awesome. Yeah. How's it? Bollock Swine is his project, but just Google him up and you're going to find his label and stuff. Really awesome guy. Yeah, that's the thing.
And what about ideas, like
Free.
books or music or anything that you listen to, books? Do you read? Where do you get your information from?
The truth is, I really like reading, but I'm in a really science fiction phase of book reading, which I also really like, because I think that science fiction is kind of, it always mixes like philosophy and the future of humanity.
Well, the science fiction of yesterday is the politics of tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I feel.
So you're reading stuff and it's like, yeah, it's really similar, and then stuff of the future.
It becomes the legal system.
Yeah. Because the one thing that I really like to state, and for me it's really important, that we really must realize that we humans in the state that we are really primitive. We as a species, we don't have a fucking common goal, So we tend to think, yeah, we're smarter than dogs and whatever. But if you even put dogs in a backyard, they're going to be more behaved than if you put humanity in a backyard. We're fucking like biting and fighting and pissing and destroying, and we make no fucking sense, That's the state we are. So even with our telephones and with this technology we have, we're fucking primitive, and we have to understand that. We're not really ready for all these tools and stuff. We're not using them right. That's really clear. So yeah, we're primitive. We don't have a goal as a species. So I don't know. I really believe also in infrapolitics. This thing, talking with people.
What politics?
Infrapolitics.
In
Yeah.
between.
Yeah.
Talking amongst ourselves.
Yes, basically starting from the bottom to going up.
Infra-politics.
Instead of going up, because most people say, yeah, we should put this dictator or whatever, and then...
So when you say infra, do you mean from below? Or?
Yeah, from below and between, from talking with people, that's a thing.
Extracting that value. Right.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.